Okay, so let's look at the we do for today. We're going to start with the first one. It says, Hilbert is decorating the bulletin board in the school's lobby. The bulletin board is a 7-foot by 11.5 feet rectangle. He decides to add a black border around the entire bulletin board. What expression can be used to determine the length of the border that he needs? So I'm going to look for some keywords to determine if I'm looking for perimeter, area, or volume. So I look at my question. It says which expression can be used to determine the length of the border that he needs. Now if you remember earlier when we looked at area, perimeter, and volume, we know that the word border is talking about around a shape. So in this case we're looking for perimeter. So let's go ahead and label our perimeter. So it's 7 feet by 11.5 feet. Okay, now in this case all I'm looking for is the expression. I'm not being asked to solve this problem, I just need an expression. So if you remember from earlier, an expression is just a number sentence with numbers and operation symbols. So you're not solving for anything here. But since I know that I'm looking for perimeter, I'm going to go ahead and write my formula for perimeter. So you can do this one of two ways. So one formula is perimeter is 2 times length plus width, okay? Or you can use 2 times L plus 2 times W, okay? So in this case, I'm just going to add all 4 sides, but since in a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent or similar, they are the same. So in this case, I could actually just take my 7 and multiply that by 2. Another way I could do this is this 11.5 is also the same as the one across, 7.5, 11.5, and 11.5. So I can actually take both of these and add those. So I can take 11.5 plus 7 and multiply that by 2. Okay, so this is one of the expressions. Okay, another expression, you could take your 2 and put that in the front. So you could actually take 2 times 11.5 plus 7. So this could also be a formula or an expression for solving for the perimeter or the border that Herbert needs. So let's go ahead and look at our next question for today. So it says this cat and bird picture has an area of 56 square centimeters. The height of the picture is 7 centimeters. What is the width of the picture? So the question says what is the width of the picture? So let's go in and look for some keywords. We see area. We know that the area is 56 centimeters. We know that the height is 7 centimeters. And we're looking for the width. Okay, since I see the keyword area, I know that I'm going to use my formula A equals length times width because this is a rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and substitute the values that I do know. I know that the area is 56 square centimeters. So I'm going to put that under A for area. Okay, I know the length. My length is 7 centimeters. So I'm going to put that 7 here. And I don't know my width, so I'm going to leave that as W. Okay, now for me to solve this problem, I know that 7 times the width here gives me 56. So I actually have to do the opposite. So what is the opposite of multiplication? Division, right? So in this case, I'm going to take 56 and divide that by 7. Okay? Now if you know your facts families, the easier way to do this is to take 7 and actually multiply it by something until you get 56. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 7. 7 times 7 is 49. That's not enough, so I got to start with the next one. 7 times 8 is 56. So in this case, my value for the width here is going to be 8. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. So I can always check my answer here. 56 is 7 times 8. That is correct. So the width of this is 8. Okay, let's look at our last problem for today. So it says Jessie is baking brownies in the rectangular pan shown. What is the volume of Jessie's pan in cubic inches? So again, we're going to look for some keywords. We see the word volume. We see the word cubic inches. Okay, and also I see a 3D shape, so I know that I'm probably going to go ahead and multiply. So I look at my formula for volume, which is area of the base times height. So my area of the base, this being my base here, since it's a rectangle, I'm going to go ahead and multiply that, length times width, times my height. So in this case, my length is 9, and my width is 13, times my height, which is 1 5/10. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take these values, and now I can actually multiply them. Okay, now off the top of my head, I don't know what 13 times 9 is, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply that to the side here, 13 times 9. So 3 times 9 is 27, so I'm going to put my 7 here. Carry my 2. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 2 is 11, so 117. So right now I have 117 times 1 5/10. Okay, so now I have to finish multiplying that. And again, I'm going to do that to the side. So 117 times 1 5/10. Now, when I'm multiplying decimals, I do not have to line up decimals. So I'm just going to pretend I'm multiplying 117 times 15 right now and worry about my decimal at the end. So 7 times 5 is 35. Carry my 3. 5 times 1 plus 3 is 8. 5 times 1 is 5. So that's my first row. I'm done with my 5. Go ahead and cross that out. And so with my next row, remember you're going to put a place value of 0. And then you move on to your next number. So 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. And then I'm going to add these values. So I have 5, 15, carry my 1. 5 plus 1 is 7. And then bring down my 1. Now remember I had a decimal here. I had one number behind my decimal, so I'm going to bring in one value in front of my decimal. So in this case, my volume is 175 5/10. And in this case, remember you want your units, so it's inches cubed or cubic inches.